topic is about Azure Event Grid. So just give me 2 minutes. All right, so again, I'm resharing my screen out here. So that's the portal of Azure out there, and let's get started. I'm sorry. If you're hearing some background noise, I'm extremely sorry. Kitchen is nearby. So Azure Event Grid, what exactly it is. So if you go to the portal out here very quickly. So if you go to the portal out here, this is the Azure Event Grid. So you can see here, I can just say grid. So so you can see we have grid topics, we have grid subscriptions, right? So let's talk about the Azure Event Grid. First thing, let me quickly check if you can see my screen. Not able to hear anything. I'm okay. Can you hear me? This is confusing actually. Yeah, okay. Just that my, okay. So Azure Event Grid out here. Now, what happens in Azure, we have lots of services out here. And in these services, for example, let's say you want to communicate between these services using events. Remember that there's a difference between events and queues. In queues, the other system don't have to be online, but in case of an event, the other system has to be online. So assume that you have a blob out here, right, an Azure blob, and you want to say that when any record gets added out here, you want to go and send an event saying that a new record has been added to, let us say, a function app, or let us say a logic app, right? So for that, we have Azure Event Grid. So what Azure Grid does is, you have all the Azure services. What you can do is you can go and you can register your events with the Azure Event Grid, right? So the Azure Event Grid acts like a mediator in between. So any service of Azure, like example, the blob, can say that this is something I'm doing now here, adding a new record, and the other service can subscribe to that event and hear it. So for example, a function app, or must be a logic app, right? So one is that it has one-to-one events. So like one service wants to send event to another service which is subscribed. Also, what you can do is you can use something called as topics, the way we had in Azure Service Bus, wherein let's say you have a web app, right? An app service. An app service can send a message to a topic, right? And many subscribers can subscribe to this topic. So you can say that, okay, there is a there is a logic app which is subscribed. There is a MSMQ, a queue message which has subscribed, right? So this becomes a publisher subscriber model. So you can have a publisher subscriber model, or you can just have a simple one-to-one event communication, event notification, right? So you can think about, this Azure Event Grid is very useful to for doing communication between any Azure service out there. So now I'm going to go here and let us do a small demo. So what we will do in our demo is, I will do the following demo of Azure Event Grid. We will have a blob out here, and we will create a logic app. When a new record is added to this blob, I want to send a message to the event grid, and this logic app should be called. Very simple demo, which I'm trying to perform here, right? So first thing, I need to go and create an Azure storage. Remember, Azure blobs are all about Azure storage. So I'll just go and create a storage account out here very, very quickly. I was thinking of doing this before the class, but then I saw that many people are new to Azure. So I just said that it will help you to revise as well. So you can see that I'm creating a resource group out here. Let's give a storage account name, Questpont, right? Cool, let's make it cool so that we get build less. Let us not use too much redundancy out here. Standard, review, and create, right? So here is a very simple Azure storage. Remember, you have to first create an Azure storage, and then you have to create an Azure blob, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is I'm also going to go and create a logic app. So there it is. It has submitted. It's now the deployment is underway. Also, one more important thing which we need to do out here is we need to ensure that in our subscription, so before even we start the demo of Azure Event Grid, in our subscription, we need to have the Azure Event Grid enabled. So in the resource providers, you can see I've gone to my subscription. You need to ensure that Azure Event Grid is activated. It is registered. So you can see here, Event Grid, you can see that it is registered. For example, if this was not registered, I would have clicked like this out here and I would have clicked on register. So please note that this is an important step out there, or else the event grid is not enabled for your account, because the event grid is kind of a global grid, right? So that's why it has to be enabled on the account level. So you can see here, I can click on this and I can unregister as well, but I have, by default it is unregistered. I have registered it, right? So that's the first step. Let me write down the steps here as well, because so first, ensure that in the resources, in the providers, Azure Event Grid is registered, right? That is the first step. The second step is I have created this storage account out here. So let me go to the storage account. Very quickly, let me go and create a blob. So remember that there is a container at the top level and there is a blob. So I'll just say my container. I'll just make it public. I'll just make it anonymous. Anybody can access it so that I don't deal with security a lot. I will go to the container out here, and what I want is that the time I go and upload something out here, it should send a message to the event, right? And the event grid will actually forward it back to the logic apps, right? So this is also created. Second step, create the container and the blob. Third step, let me create a logic app out here. So I'm going to now create a logic app. Remember, logic app is nothing but a workflow, right? The logic app is nothing but a workflow, right? So I'm keeping on checking, if my voice is audible. Logic app, I'll just add it to the same resource so that I can delete all the resource in BC5 application or a Java application as a website. Second, you can use something called as function app. In function, what happens is just a piece of code which you want to run and you don't want to get billed for the storage and so on. And the third one is logic apps, which is nothing but a workflow. You can see over here, this word here, empty workflow. It is a workflow, right? So that is the second step. I'll just write down. So logic app created. Now inside this logic app, what I will do is I will go and I will subscribe to Azure Grid, and I will subscribe to the event of blob add. So whenever a blob is added, right? So there it is. It is getting. It will take a minute. Okay. Let's watch once. Let's see the demo completely, and then I will go back to doubts for everyone. And just quickly, guys, before this deployment happens, tomorrow we are having Amazon Web Services, so Amazon Cloud Services, right? So we have a very a senior trainer out there who's going to give a 1.5 hour lecture on Amazon Cloud. So I would request everyone tomorrow 9 to 10, the same time, we're going to have Amazon as well. So today, what we did in the afternoon, we did the basics of Azure, and today I'm doing some topics, which are pending, like the the Azure service bus, and today I did events. So when you go to Amazon, right, you can ask those questions out there. Okay, so here we have virtual machine. What do you have there? So they have something called as EC2 and so on. So here we have Azure events. What do you have out there? Here, this is the way we do the billing. How do you do out there? So with that, you can get a very good idea of Amazon as well, right? And we are planning also, like as I'm taking internally training with my trainers out there, I'm getting better and better day by day. In the coming 1 week, I'll be having an extensive session. Personally, I will take only on Azure Amazon services, right? So fine. So that's, but tomorrow we have that class. Please do come and attend. So here it is. Logic Apps is out here. So when a HTTP request is there, so when an HTTP service, when somebody calls an HTTP post or an HTTP GET, right? I want to go and do something. So what do you want to do? I want to go and listen to Azure Event Grid. So I want to listen to Event Grid. Look at this, Azure Event Grid, right? So listen to Azure Event Grid, and what is the action you want to listen to? So okay, Azure Event Grid, and search for connections. So blobs, what happened out here? New step. Yeah, what is, okay, I have to hit a back. That's so sad. So I want to, this is why it is a publish. Hang on. Azure Event Grid. Okay. When a resource event occurs, I'm sorry, I was just confused. Okay. So when a resource event occurs, so what is the resource event? From where where is the resource first thing? Okay, I'm sorry. Where is the resource? The resource is inside this quest out here by which I have. So I'm going to go and sign in. Remember, the Azure Event Grid is a global thing. So everyone has to register their service to the event, or else he cannot do anything about it, right? So you can see here he's saying that register. So I'll just go and I will register to the Azure Event Grid out there. So you can either go and connect to the Event Grid via using, how do you say, a service principal, or you can just go and register yourself. So you can say, I've just registered. So what is the subscription out here? Pay as you go. So what is the resource type you want to listen? So I want to listen to Azure blobs. So I want to listen to blobs. Microsoft.storage accounts. I'm sorry. So storage accounts, because inside storage you will have blobs. Inside storage you will have queues and so on, right? I'm sorry. So that's the main resource type. And over here I will say now, so what is the event type? My event is a blob created, right? So when this blob is created, I want that this thing should actually run out here, right? So a very, very, how do you say, easy thing, easy logic app which I've created out here, right? Hang on. So, right. And so let us go and just quickly watch again. Let me just quickly check again if I'm making any mistake out here. So I've added a new step, and I've said that an event grid, the trigger is which is the resource. So my resource is out here into this pay as you go, my subscription. And what is the resource? My resource is on storage account. Inside the storage account, what is my interest? My interest is blob created, and that's what it is, right? And I will just go and save this. Fail to save logic app definition contains invalid parameters. Okay, name of the resource is quest font. Yes. Okay, and save it. So there it is. Let me diagrammatically show you what I've done out here so that you understand. So this is this blob out here, which is inside the container. So the blob is actually inside the container, right? You have this logic app out here, which is there. and you have this Azure event grid, which can hear to anything, anywhere, right? So first thing, the logic app, what it is doing is it has got registered into the event grid, and is saying that any kind of event about blob created, please tell me. So what he will do now is this Azure event grid then went ahead and registered himself to the container, and he said now that this becomes the publisher, and whenever there is a blob row added, he will go ahead and make a call to this logic app, right? So very, very easy. So now let us go and see that if this really works. So let me go back to my home out here. So we have this logic app, you can see. We also have the storage account, right? So I'm going to go to the storage account. And first thing, if I go to the logic app out here, and if I see the activity log, at this moment, nothing has run, nothing has happened out here, right? So nothing is there in the activity log activity at this moment. And also, if I want, you can see down below, can you see run history, right? So I can see trigger history also over here. It says that nothing has started, nobody has invoked anything, and so on. So good. Okay, so now let me go back and go to the storage account, and let me go to the go and open that in the Explorer. So must be I can go from here, Storage Explorer, and let me go and upload something out here. So I'm going to go and upload some kind of a record out here. Remember that Azure blobs can take up anything, any unstructured data. I'll say just say upload. So there it is uploaded. Now what should happen is, let's go to our logic app out here. Here there should be some event triggered. I don't see any event triggered. What happened? Refresh. Mm-hmm. Hang on. What mistake I have done? No runs. Hey, let's see again the logic of. Let me go to Logic App Designer. What I've done out here is I'm saying when an HTTP request is received. No, this we should not be there, right? I think I've done something wrong out there. So no, you can see here. I'm not sure. I think I did the wrong way. If you remember, I had this HTTP request which I have created, which is wrong. Whenever the resource event occurs, it should just trigger, isn't it? So I feel so that this logic app should be just triggered. So that first HTTP request is really not needed, isn't it? So I just removed that part. I'm so sorry for it. Let me go and again see. Oh, there it is. You can see there was a callback URL 2 minutes back. So I think it worked. How did it work? But because, okay, the logic app has to be triggered. Hang on. Let me go and try again. I'm sorry for this. What I mean is, like, the logic app should not be triggered now by an HTTP call, isn't it? If you look at in my logic app, what I did is I said that there is an HTTP call, and after that I said listen to an event grid. It does not make sense. This event grid should trigger automatically. This flow is not needed, right? So for some reason I put this flow out there. I've just removed it, right? Let me go back now again. Let me go and add to the storage account. Open in Explorer. Must be I can go and upload some other image out here. Remember, he checks for duplicacy. For example, if I upload again Azure Live, it will be a problem. I'll just upload this React.js tutorial. Okay, good. Let me go back here. Let me go to Logic app out here and refresh. No trigger. this was a callback which was made. Sometimes back, this was a callback which was made. I think it did call, huh, guys? I'm so sorry. You can see it. He has made a call 3 minutes or 4 minutes back. So I think this call was actually made. But why I don't see it here? I should really see it here as well in this run history. I don't see it. What is so wrong in this? HTTP. Okay, let me do like this. I think I'm messing up things out here. Discard this. Activity log. I think he made a call. I don't know why this run history is not shown out here. I always see a run history out here. It is just not showing the run history out here. That's the log which I need to enable. I have not enabled it, so I won't see it there. Let me go back there. Let me do like this. I think I've done something wrong out there and messing up things. Can I go and delete this? I don't want to delete the whole logic app. I just want to one action. No trigger. That's something very bad. It should show a trigger out there. If I just run this, let me just run this out here. Okay, the workflow has no triggers. Okay. So this workflow is running out here. Now let me go back there. And let me upload a document. I think when you put an HTTP call, it is running, right? So I don't have to keep that workflow running. You can see at this moment, this workflow has no trigger, right? So let us see if, okay. So that means that it needs that HTTP. Huh? You can see here, I've uploaded data out here, and this should have actually run, and I don't see anything out there. So he's saying that please create one of the triggers, right? So I'm going to go and create a trigger again back. This is so sad. Trigger an HTTP trigger. Built in. No, not this. Add HTTP trigger, I don't want. Why is it not? Okay, guys, let me do like this. Let me delete this. Type the logic app name. Let me delete this. I'm sorry for the confusion out here. What I really wanted to see is I wanted to see that this logic app should be running. Let me do it again. Okay. So does that delete the logic app? I guess so. Right. So that is. Let me go and create it again. I think I've done some mistake out here. So I'm going to go and add a logic app. Uh, logic 1 to 3. Too much Azure classes I'm taking. Too many services out there to put on the head. I'm just recreating it, guys, again. I think it needed an HTTP trigger. I deleted the HTTP trigger, which is wrong thinking. I believe so. So let me do it again. So I'm going to go to resources out here. When an HTTP is received, when an event grid resource occurs, that's what I was expecting. So I'm not sure why. Or not. So that's what I should be selecting. Oh shit. But I deleted that, still it did not work. Okay, I'm going to go and take it from the template now. Guys, look at this. I selected this. I should have been selecting this, right? So when an event grid occurs, right? So that's an Azure event grid, which is registered with me. Yes, continue. So what is the event you want to listen? I want to go and listen to this subscription. I want to go and listen to the resource type, which is, you can see lots of resource type out there, but storage account, which I want to listen. And I want to listen, this resource name at this moment is correspond, and the event which I want to listen is blob created. I don't know, like what I did is I deleted that HTTP, what was there at the first, and I also did this when a resource event occurs, but it did not work. So fine, I'm going to now go and save it. Very simple. Okay. Now let us give a try. I think this should work. So I'm going to go now again back to home out here. What I can do is I can keep this logic 1 to 3 running out here so that we can quickly refresh and see if things are working, right? So at this moment, there is nothing out here. Now let me go back here to my blob. Actually, what happens is whenever I create a logic app, by default, I go and I say HTTP, because most of the application which I'm working on, by default I select HTTP. So I selected HTTP, and I don't know why I selected after that the resource event created. Then I deleted HTTP. It did not work, right? So I think it's all my mistake the way I've done things, but fine. Let us see this design pattern. I'll just upload it. Upload. So once I upload out here, very quickly, I'm going to go and do a refresh out here to just quickly check. Oh, there it is now. You can see it has said succeeded out there, right? And the logic app did run. You can see that the logic app did run, and the logic app, if you see at this moment, it said that some event has occurred in the storage account, and in the storage account, you can see that he has published out here in the container that design pattern.jpg has been uploaded. Right, guys, I'm extremely sorry for it. I'll tell you again what the mistake I've done. The mistake I did is I added HTTP, and then I added event grid. I don't know why I did that. Must be it's because the way I choose logic app always. Then I deleted this HTTP thinking that he will trigger this event, but something went wrong. So I deleted the whole logic app, and I started from the template, and must be in the template something got fixed. Okay, so guys, any questions? I'm so sorry for all the confusion. Yes, I'm extremely sorry, guys. I think I should have started properly with the template. I went, I deleted, I did something. Even it should have worked. When I deleted that HTTP, it should have worked, but something must have been missed out. So it seems that you selected Shiv account while creating resource, but yeah, but the correspond account, what you see out there, is a global account. So it was okay. That correspond account was not a problem. We can start logic app and then upload blob in parallel. Yeah, Amit, I did that as well, but you don't need, the logic app does not have to be running, right? The Azure event will call it. The logic app, see here in this case, I tried that as well. So it was like stupid to think about it. The Azure event will call that, right? I think you first, okay. So I think, okay. Can we debug the whole process to see what happens step by step? Okay. So guys, I'll just put down the process out here, because let us also complete topics. Ensure that the event providers in Azure Event Grid is registered. create the container and the blob, then create the logic app, right? And in the logic app, the logic which you write, right, start from Azure event grid resource, event grid, right? Don't start from HTTP. Yes, you can. So here are some questions. I'll take the questions out here. Yes, guys. See, at the end of the day, what you said is right. Divesh, I want to make mistakes. I'm learning too many things. Believe me, at this age of 46, 47, which I'm nearing to 50 now, I'm learning so many things. From morning itself, I have looked into Python. I've looked into this. So it is very eventual. Like I will just go and lose some steps out there, right? But with that, I'm sure that you must have understood what issues I'm doing. Can we store the message payload also in the event grid? Yes, you can store it. If you look at the event grid, the last final output which I showed you, the complete body is out here. All the headers are out here. So everything is there. We have to just capture it. So what we can do is in the further Azure, in the further thing, if I want, I can go ahead and I can say that after when this event source occurs, create a new step and send an email or go and add it to an Azure thing, right? So all that things you can get back down and you can do other things as well, right? So perfectly, all the headers, all the payload, everything you will get into the Azure event grid. Okay. In item, event type during the app designer is the same as your trigger, right? Yes, event type is the same as your trigger, yes. Do we have any debugging process out here? Yes, you can debug. What you can do is, as someone said out there, you can go ahead and you can keep this running. You can do like this. I can go and delete this. Let me try this out. So I can go and I can run like this. You can see now performing the start action to view the run, right? So you can see this is out there at this moment in a debug mode also. And you can see there's a code view as well. So all this is at the end of the day C# code, right? So you can also go and see the code view as well. You can also attach Visual Studio and as well debug. All those options are out here. Now let's see, perform. Let's see this. So I'm going to go and let me try to upload something out here. View child. Upload. Okay, there you can see now it has now ran. You can see my debug just happened. And if I want, I can also put debug points out there and I can debug them as well. So it's the same thing, just that if you want to just see it live and if you want to see step by step, you can go and you can use the debug options out here, right? So yes, you can run at one point and you can debug, or else you don't have to debug. You can go and you can see the history as well. Okay, can we notify over an email? So there's a question here. Can we notify over the email as well? Yes, we can notify over the email as well. What you can do is you can go and you can say out here, edit this, create a new step, and say that send an email. So you can send, like for example, you can see here I'm saying send an email from Gmail. Send an email to whom? You can go and you can say send an email, sign into your Gmail account, and even the email can be sent, right? Remember that Azure Event Grid, or sorry, Logic Apps has lots of things. It has if conditions and so on. Now, very important thing out here. If you look at the Azure Event Grid out there, it charges you per event. So whatever events are coming, whatever events you will use in your Logic Apps or wherever, right, it will charge you according to that. So please ensure that whenever you are going and using these grids out here, please ensure that you put a filter. So don't just allow all the events to go in. For example, let us say that you have two blobs out there and you want to just listen to blob one. So you can go ahead and you can put a filter out here so that you don't get charged unnecessarily. So with that, Azure Event Grid will not send messages and you will not get billed. Remember, Azure Event Grid is billed per message. You don't have anything for the installation cost and so on. So you can go and you can put a prefix filter out here saying that only listen to blob one. Right, so it will only listen to blob one. Filters. Okay. Good. And you can see lots of resources out here which you can tap into. You can tap into Key Vault. You can tap into SignalR, you can tap into media services, you can tap into MSMQ, you can tap into SQL Server, and so many other things out there, right? Okay, now let me go ahead and do something more complex. Let me go and talk about something called as topics. So, and this is the demo I'll do. In this demo, my goal is the following. I will create, at this moment, if you see, so I will go and I will create a logic flow. So in this logic flow, first there will be an HTTP call which will be made. This HTTP call will go and it will probably go and it will put some, it will go and it will publish a message into a topic. So it will go and it will publish a message into a topic, right? And to this topic, we will have someone subscribe to it. So must be we can have one more logic app who will actually go and subscribe to this topic. You can have some kind of an Azure blob who can subscribe to this topic, right? So let's go ahead and do this. So over here now, let me again go back to let me go and create one more logic app. So logic apps, and I will say this time this is publisher. So res1, and let's say logic publisher, create, review, and create. Right. Remember that in the previous logic app, in this logic 1 to 3, if you remember very quickly, in the logic 1 to 3, I was listening to events. So if you see into this app designer out here, you will see that I used when a resource event occurs. So I was actually, I was actually listening to a resource event, right? So I was actually listening to event. Now in this case, we have to go and listen to, we have to actually use the publisher. We have to actually go and publish. So it's creating, refresh. Azure is just becoming better day by day. The queuing service, the service bus, event grids, the machine learning, ETL online. It is fantastic. This deployment is taking time. Right, so let's see any questions till then. Yeah, there are different connectors. Yes, absolutely, there are different connectors. Yes. So that's a good question. Which is effective, service bus or event grid? See, both have different purposes. Service bus, if you ask me, in service bus, it's a queue. So in a queue, for example, let us say if this logic app is not up, if the logic app is not up, right, then Azure events will fail because Azure event will try to make a call. In case of an event, both the publisher and the subscriber both have to be there live. Both the client endpoints have to be live. In case of queuing, it is not like this. So Azure Service Bus, you can come after 1 hour and you can still get the message, right? So that will be stored temporarily. While in case of event, he actually tries to make a call directly. So both of them are different. So about the cost, my feeling is that the Azure Service Bus will be costly. I didn't see the charges because in Azure Service Bus, you have to store that, right? You have to store somewhere. You have to do a DQ, deadlocks, dead queue, dead letter, and so on. So I feel so that would be costly. So here it is. My resource is now created. Let us go back and let us create when an HTTP request is received. I want to go and add a new step. And in this new step, what I want to do is I want to go and take the event publish. I don't know why previously my Azure event grid did not work. So Azure event grid publish, and This is where it is. So now where do you want to publish this? So now there should be some kind of an endpoint. There should be some kind of an endpoint where it wants to publish, right? So what I will do out here is I will say that, so as we said out here, this is one logic app. So there will be another logic app, right? So I'm going to go and create one more logic app where I will go and I will call this whole thing, right? So portal.azure.com. So this is logic app, logic publisher. I'm going to go and create a logic subscriber. So logic app, subscriber, or I'll say logic subscriber 1 because this is one to many. Logic subscriber 1, right? Actually I was thinking that I will create all this and come online, but then I thought that if I create all this and if I come online, you won't be able to actually get an idea that how everything has started, right? So I said that even if it takes 10 minutes more, I will do it online practically, right? So deployment. So what I did is now I have a logic publisher out here. He's trying to publish an event, right? And this event will actually go to an endpoint, and that endpoint from there, this guy will be called, right? So now here, so let's go now to our, okay, hang on. So, I'm sorry. So now, your topic. So from there, event grid topics. So I'll say that go and publish to this topic. So let's say topic 1 to 3. Same resource group I'll create, rest 1. I'll say create here. So from this logic app, I will first go and publish to that topic. So con topic, whatever, connection topic. And then that logic app will subscribe to this topic. So must be I can just, so I have created this. This is the logic publisher. This is the topic. He will publish to the topic. The second logic app will subscribe to this topic, and many other logic apps, many other queues can subscribe to this topic, right? So you can see here this topic has been created. There it is. Topic has been created. Okay, so that is a topic, and we need the access to the topic. So over here, what is he asking for? He is asking for the DNS endpoint, the application topic. So overview. Oh, this is resource 1. Where is the topic? Topic 1 to 3. And that's the endpoint. You can see at the right hand side. I'm going to go and click on copy out here. So this is where he will publish. So I'll say that go and publish to this endpoint. And if you're going and publishing to the endpoint, you will say, please give me a shared key. So you will also need to get the access keys out here. Remember, there are 2 keys given in Azure. So one key, the 2 keys are for, first is, both of the keys do the same thing. One of the things, for this 2 keys, first thing, how do I do in my application, in my project? I give these keys. If you see any of the Azure resources, you will find 2 keys out there, and I'll just give you a reason for it. One is that what you can do is when you use the keys, both of the keys mean the same thing. It will give you the same access. But now think about this situation. So what I do in my project is, so for every resource, either SQL Server, either you create VM, he will give you 2 keys. Okay. So what I do is that one key, I keep it for myself as a backup, right? And one key, let us say, I circulated to client 1, client 2, client 3, and hundreds of clients are using it. And suddenly I find that some of the clients I'd want to close them off, right? So let's say some 50 clients, I want to close them off. But if I close those 50 and I want to regenerate my key because of security issues, I want to regenerate my key. So what will happen now? Let's say this key 1 is here and second key I have circulated to everyone, right? So if I regenerate my second key, then everyone will just crash and say, oh, like we can't now connect. What I can then do is I can give the first key to the clients which I want, saying that, hey, like you can use the same key and you can still connect, right? So with this, what will happen is with this one key, they can still reconnect back and it should not be an issue, right? And then, you know, after, so this second key out there is like a backup key, saying that if one key, if you change, and if you say that no, some other person has to still work on, right, still they have to continue working, then you can give the one key, it will still get connected with the first key and it should still work. So that's why two keys are given out there. So I'll just take one of the keys. At this moment we don't have that complication. Just copy it and shared key, create. Fine. So when the request will happen from this logic out here, it will go and it will create an event, right? So what we'll do now, okay, this event is saying that is, if you're saying it's an event, give some details, some text, right? So I'll just say subject is some event, type is some event type, data is data 1 to 3. Remember, like this data will not be data 1 to 3. You will use some expression, body, header. At this moment, I'm just hard coding the data. ID, what I will do is I'll use the expression out here. I'll say, let's use a GUID. You can see GUID. Can I? Yeah, there is a GUID function. So with this, we'll have a GUID. Well, this needs a JSON. Okay, so how about IG is equal to 1. JSON, fine. Isn't that JSON? Okay, fine. Let's take some dynamic content out there. Body. I'll just put it out there. So whatever comes in the body, I've just put it. Event time. Let's see if I have some time function out there. Okay, this time I can. What's that? UTC now. Yeah, we can take that. Fine. So that's why this did not get saved. GUID. It's case sensitive, huh, guys? Case sensitive. I would press OK. I just need to get acquainted with all this. Okay. So fine. You know, this is the event which will get published, and let me try to just save this. So this logic app publisher, you can see at the top, this logic app publisher will make an HTTP request. We'll run this, make an HTTP request call. He will publish this event to this topic out here, right? And this topic is subscribed by this workflow. So this is a logic subscriber 1, right? So I will go here and say that when an event, so this is the subscriber out here. And what I can also do is over here, if you see, I can go from here also. So overview, and this is the topic out here. And to this topic, I can go and I can say subscriber. Yeah, I can say that this is an event subscription. And so over here, I will say that make a call somewhere. So for example, when something happens out here, you would like to go and send it to some subscriber out there, right? So event subscription 1 out here. So I'll say, let me give a name here, subscriber 1. And let's say the subscriber 1 is this. So this subscriber 1 is logic subscriber 1, where I will just make a request of post call and I will just save this. So this is just a simple post call, nothing, right? So this URL, once you go and create this, you can see this URL out here. This I will put it out there. So I will go and I will put it out there. So event grid is topic, add event type. There is no event type here. Endpoint is a webhook. A webhook means we can call that as a web API. So what is the endpoint that has to be called? I will say subscriber endpoint is this, right? So from the logic publisher, it will make a call to the event, to the topic. In the topic, we will have lots of subscriptions. So you can see I created one subscription. and this subscription is making a call to the logic, this one, right? To the logic subscriber, and I can go and I can add one more event out here. So remember, for the topic, I can have lots of subscribers out here. So good. Let me again explain that. I know that this looks complex for the first time. There is a logic app publisher which makes an HTTP call. Then after that, it goes and it creates a, what do you call, an event and sends it to the topic. In this topic, we have subscriber 1. At this moment, I just created subscriber 1. I can create subscriber 2 as well. And to that subscriber, I have connected logic subscriber 1, logic app subscriber 1, right? In this topic, I can go and connect queues as well. I can go and create storage as well. So now what will happen is, when I run this, it should also go and run logic subscriber 1, right? So I'm going to go out here to the home, and let us go to our logic apps. So logic subscriber publisher 1, and I will just run this. So remember that you can make an HTTP call and run it, or you can just run it, right? So I'm going to go and just run this manually. Yes, run it manually. So you can see successfully check the trigger, fine. And now let's go to the subscriber. Let's go to the subscriber. And can you see here, can you see that he has made a call to logic subscriber 1? You can see that he has made a call to logic subscriber 1. In the history, I can see that an HTTP request has been received. And you can see the event here called as some event. Well, the data was null. But if you remember, this was the subject, and also I had given a GUID out here. That GUID is also seen out here. Okay, so that was a demo of Azure events by using the publisher subscriber model. Any questions out here? Yes. No. So here's a question. No. This. So okay. You don't. It is not through logic apps. No. There's a question out here. I need to attend. I need to address this. No. Azure events at this moment. If you remember the drop down, in the drop down there were a lot of things. So you can subscribe to queues. You can subscribe to data storages. You can subscribe to logic apps. You can subscribe to function apps. The goal of Azure Event Grid is definitely to communicate between any resource of Azure. That's what the goal is. I know that they are not supporting all the resources for now, but that's what the goal eventually will be. Okay, so let's see this question out here. Guys, sorry for that first demo. I really messed it up. Is there Microsoft or a non-Microsoft product outside of Azure, like Azure Container, Azure Blob, Logic Apps? Lot of like, so for example, if I go to create a virtual machine out here, for instance, when I create a virtual machine, I'm just giving one of the instances where you can see that all these operating systems are non-Microsoft. Oracle with Linux, Ubuntu, Red Hat. These are not Microsoft, right? Second, if you go and if you search in the marketplace, you will get a lot of those things out there which are completely non-Microsoft. Let me see something like, you can host your own thing. You can see Python container, Python function, Python on Ubuntu, Oracle database 12.x version. See, the marketplace is something where it is completely non-Microsoft, but internally also they have integrated a lot of non-Microsoft products. Like example, creating a virtual machine, you can have Linux and other things as well. So once you are in the marketplace, it's an open ground out there. Let us go back to questions. Real time, where it be useful? It's useful when you want to communicate between two services. That's very clear. Azure Event Grids, when you have Azure's any of the Azure services, for example, on web application, he sends out an event, and then you want Azure Blob to listen to it. You want a Logic app to listen to it. You want Azure Cosmos DB to listen to it. So Event Grid is to communicate between Azure services using the publisher subscriber mechanism, event-based subscriber mechanism, event emitter subscriber mechanism. Okay, the morning videos, please, Questcon support, please try to upload the morning videos as well. But still, I'll say, guys, that basic videos of Azure, we have lots of in Questcon. I don't want to duplicate it. Even if you go and see the first 4 labs of Questcon, those are like basic videos. We have done a lot of basic on Azure, right? So, okay, so guys, thank you very much. It's almost 10 out here. I'm extremely sorry for the first demo wherein I went ahead and I made HTTP as the first step. It should have been Azure event. But I hope that you would have understood, what exactly is Azure Event Grid. And tomorrow, 9 to 10, don't forget Amazon services, Amazon Cloud. You can go and you can compare as well to Amazon Cloud as well. Azure API management is on my list. Ashutosh, on my list. I promise you, coming Saturday, Sunday, we will do Azure API management. But I think let us also breathe in and let us also look at Amazon. We are doing so much Azure and no Amazon. It is not fair, right? Azure API management is on the list. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.